so today I am going to be doing a little back to school advice video for incoming freshmen, and I know I'm kind of a little bit late to the party. I decided to at least try to make some videos for back to school, so I figured this would be one of the easiest ones to make. And I kind of did a little memo on my phone of ideas to talk about, you know, like things that people could be scared of. So I'm going to be a sophomore this year, so I actually have a little bit of experience of what high school is like, and I'm just going to be sharing that with you guys today. Some things that might scare you would be like the first day of school. For me, I was going into a completely different district, so like knowing absolutely no one, it was definitely scary, I have to say, because everyone already had their own little cliques and stuff, and I was just there like a brand new person. I have to say though, the thing that did help me was being in band. I know that sounds crazy. I went to like part of their August band camp, and I met a couple people there, and I was able to sit with them at like lunch and stuff. But if you already know people and you know you're not going into a completely different district, then it'll probably be easier for you to find people to sit with at lunch. At my school there are 4 lunches. My friends that ended up going to the school that I was going to go to, they said that they weren't even that many people that they knew at their lunch, just because there were so many lunches and so many people. So if that ends up happening to you, my advice would be to just go up to a table, you know, anyone that you see that looks nice and approachable, just go to them and be like, hey, I don't really know anyone, is it okay if I sit here? And most of the time they're gonna say yes, and if they say no, then they weren't worth your time anyways. As for homework and like extra work goes, there's like sort of this mentality that once you get to high school, there's gonna be just loads and loads of homework on you. And I will admit that like if you're taking like pre-AP classes or AP classes or whatever, advanced classes in general, there is gonna be a little bit more work, but it honestly depends on the teacher and you know, the school that you go to, on kind of like the workload that they give. Some teachers like to give a lot of homework, some are fine with just moderate homework, you know. But honestly, like, it wasn't such a big difference that I was like drowning in homework every night. As for like freedom goes, it's kind of the same thing as from the transition to elementary school to middle school. You know how you kind of had that little relief of like not having to walk in lines all the way down the hallway, you know, as a class or something like that. It's kind of the same thing, just a little bit more freedom, you know, from the transition to middle school to high school. There's just a little bit more freedom that you can feel like in the air, and teachers really treat you as adults a little bit more, which can be good and can be bad, because like they're not going to be on your case as much anymore, like about getting your work turned in and stuff like that. It's going to be up to you a little bit more, which is a little scary at first, because you actually have to go through the process and figure it out yourself, that they're not going to, you know, be like on your case as much, and you're going to have to be responsible enough to finish your work and turn it in on time. Procrastination. It gets the best of us. It is like this virus that you get, and once you have it, you cannot get rid of it. Like seriously, I am the worst procrastinator in the history of the world. Exaggerating a little bit, but not really. I am so bad at, you know, turning in my work, doing it in the first place. It is so hard for me to get off my butt after I get home. I just want to watch YouTube. I don't want to do my homework. So my tip to combat that would be to just like push yourself, and imagine yourself in a world where you're behind and you're drowning in piles of homework, and how you wouldn't want to live in that world, and just like push all your laziness off of you and just try your hardest to do your work. Even like making a schedule as soon as you get home, you know, to like eat for, I don't know, 30 minutes or an hour, however long it takes you to eat, and then do your homework as soon as you finish eating, and then you have like the whole rest of the night to enjoy, relax. I mean, that'd be awesome. If I would have made a schedule like that, I would have been so much happier. As for extracurricular activities like sports and band and choir and theater and all that type of stuff, my advice would be to make time for those things, but also make time for your school. Like, believe me, being in band, it takes up most of your time, like before school, after school, especially in fall time, because it's, you know, marching season, and there's just rehearsals left and right. We had rehearsal from 4 o'clock to sometimes 7, most of the time 7, sometimes 6:30. So, you know, my schedule is very tight and I had to get home, you know, eat real fast and then do my homework. Sometimes I didn't even do my homework. Actually, thinking about it now, most of the year, I actually did my homework at school. Like, that's really bad. Like, I was just horrible at getting my work done. I ended up doing it all throughout lunch. You know, I took up all my free time I had at school to finish my homework, which is super bad. So if you're worried about friends and just finding friends, if you're like me and you went to a completely new district and you knew nobody, my #1 tip would be to try to get into as many clubs, as many groups as you can find. Theater, band, choir, athletics, decathlon team, science club. I don't even know if those exist anymore. Whatever clubs exist in your school, try to find those different groups and eventually you'll find some friends that you will enjoy being around. If you're worried about like being popular in school or just like knowing a bunch of people, you really don't have to worry about that, because as time goes on you will find people that you're comfortable around. Don't try to act like you're someone you're not just to fit into a group of people or to be considered popular. Like, it's really not worth it at the end of the day, because then you are uncomfortable all the time, you're not able to be yourself. And also, like, the whole 4 grades, or at least in my high school there are 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grades, there's not really like a segregation of grades, like no talking in between grades. It's actually pretty open and people will talk to anyone, honestly. They don't care what grade they're in. Like, upperclassmen are not really as scary and frightening as people make them out to be, so you don't really have to worry about that very much. As for drama goes, I would try to avoid it as much as I can, because honestly it's not beneficial at all in any way. And as for like the dating scene goes, you really don't have to worry about it. Like, going into freshman year, it's not the most important thing in the world. The most important things that you have to worry about in high school are your grades, you know, turning in all your assignments. Like, if you happen to find someone, then go ahead, like, you know, but don't make it your #1 priority. Like, your #1 priority in school should always be school, you know, your grades and stuff like that, just because that you go to school to learn, obviously. So try not to forget that if you get mixed up in all that dating stuff. But yeah, that's just about all the advice I can give you guys. Like, if you have any other questions or comments or concerns or anything like that, you can leave them in the comments down below and I'll try to get back to you. So don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and that's just about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!